So, in the aftermath, I suppose that's the best way you can say it, of the Brexit deal finally being done, we are still waiting on an actual proper economic analysis, and I fully do not expect the government themselves to actually release an economic analysis of this. But from what we go here, we can see essentially there's a story from from the Guardian that goes over this. The essentially the morning after, shall we say, the deal was signed, and just going over this, and quite frankly, what we are going to heavily see next year, and I've said this before, but Boris Johnson and the Brexiteers are going to go heavy next year to try and prove anything that they can about Brexit being a success. But if anything, it will be far but a success. Like I say, we are in a situation where it is an observable empirical fact that countries do more trade with their closest trading partners, geography wise, so that would be the EU, than we do with any other country. And yet, as was said before just a couple of weeks ago, Brexit seems to be a massive gamble on whether or not Britain can somehow regulate its economy better than the EU. And to say that we are in a recession, which again does bear repeating, we are in a recession. We are the only country in Europe that is in recession at this moment in time. You know, but there you go. So anyway, let's get into this. So this covers really Boris's and Ursula von der Leyen's statements about the deal. So the title of the article is, before we do that though, please do remember to hit that like and share button, and also down below there's a link to my Patreon page as well as a one-off donation link, and thank you very much to the people that do support me that way. And so, on with the article. So the title is, Boris Johnson vows to pit UK against EU in race for success. Britain is heading into a new chapter in its relationship with the rest of Europe, with Boris Johnson vowing to pit the country against the EU in a race for economic success. 9 months after tumultuous talks, a Brexit deal was finally secured at 1:44 p.m. GMT on Christmas Eve, avoiding a no-deal exit from the transition period with just a week to go. EU ambassadors will meet on Christmas Day for a briefing from their chief negotiator Michel Barnier, and are expected to take at least 2 or 3 days to analyse the agreement and decide upon its provisional implementation. In the UK, Eurosceptic backbenchers are awaiting the verdict of a, quote, star chamber of experts convened by the European Research Group to go through the agreement line by line. It is expected to publish its conclusions on Monday. So wait for that, because that will be coming out today. And there's going to be 2 ways that will actually come out. Either A, the ERG is going to do one of 2 things. Either A, it is going to spin this as a win, and this, quote, star chamber of experts is going to be working overtime, as they are publishing now. I'm doing this on Sunday, to try and prove that this is some sort of success. Or they will turn around and say, no, this isn't the Brexit we wanted. And then this will kick in the whole narrative of betrayal, and so on and so on. And then eventually this might very well lead to that piece of newspaper that we've been saying will happen sooner or later. This isn't the Brexit that we voted for. Headline. Who knows? But we'll have to wait and see. So, the deal was met with relief tinged with some sadness. In Brussels, it was said by Johnson to be the settlement of a vexed question of Britain's relationship with Europe, 48 years since the country joined the European Economic Community. Flanked by large Union flags, the Prime Minister said, this European question has been going on for decades. I think this gives us the platform, the foundation for a real prosperous new relationship. A deal delivered on a promise of a giant free trade zone characterised by regulatory competition, Johnson said. We have taken back control of laws and our destiny. We have taken back control of every jot and tittle of our regulation in a way that is complete and unfettered. Prime Minister said the UK had won the right to set its own standards to innovate in the way that we want. In key sectors such as bioscience and artificial intelligence, British laws will be made solely by British Parliament, interpreted by British judges sitting in UK courts, he said. He later tweeted a video where he hailed the deal as great tidings of great joy, picking up a copy of the 500-page document, adding, "The oven-ready deal was just the starter. This is the feast full of fish, by the way. And I believe it will be the basis of a happy and successful partnership with our friends in the EU for years to come." His optimism, however, was contrasted with the expectations of the government's own independent forecaster, the Office for Budget Responsibility, which expects Brexit to shave 4% off the GDP in the medium term. 4% is quite a lot. It really is. If you may remember, we went over this, that even the softest form of Brexit would shave about 2%, and that the government would struggle to put in place policies that would help to cover that 2%. So, if according to that guy, that they were going to struggle to put in policies to cover that 2%, then they are going to be incredibly hard to try and cover that 4% of GDP that we have now lost. So, from the 1st of January, most UK nationals will lose the right to free movement, and British business will face significant extra cost in doing business with its biggest export market. The European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen gently questions Johnson's understanding of sovereignty, the watchword of the British negotiating team led by David Frost, as she welcomed the agreement. She said, "Of course, this whole debate has always been about sovereignty, but we should cut through the sound bites and ask ourselves what sovereignty actually means in the 21st century. For me, it is about being able to seamlessly work, travel and study and do business in 27 countries. It is about pooling our strength and sticking together in a world full of greater powers, and in a time of crisis, it's about pulling each other up instead of trying to get back on your feet alone." And the European Union shows how this works in practice. No deal in the world can change the reality of the gravity in today's economy. In today's world, we are one of the giants. Ursula von der Leyen referenced Shakespeare, the Beatles, and T.S. Eliot as she was ushering in the new era. It was a long and winding road, but we finally got a deal, to show for it. It is fair and it is balanced, and it is the right, responsible thing to do for both sides, she said. At the end of a successful negotiation, I normally feel joy, but today I only feel quiet satisfaction and, frankly speaking, relief. I know this is a difficult day for some, and to our friends in the United Kingdom, I want to say that parting is such sweet sorrow. But, to use a line from T.S. Eliot, what we call the beginning is often the end, and to mark an end is often a beginning. So to all Europeans, I think it is time to leave Brexit behind. Most of Johnson's themes in his speech included sovereignty, regulatory independence and fishing, and those were close to the heart of the Brexit-backing MPs who helped him win the Tory leadership last year. With MPs set to vote the agreement on Wednesday, the 30th of December, Downing Street has kept Eurosceptic backbenchers closely informed on negotiations as they developed. After the deal was struck, many said they would await the verdict of the Star Chamber convened by the Backbench European Research Group, consisting of lawyers, politicians, and including the former Europe Minister David Jones. In a sign of battles to come, representatives of the fishing industry said it was bitterly disappointing with what Johnson described as prodigious increase in the amount of fish the UK could actually land. Barry Dodds, the head of the National Federation of Fishermen's Organisation, said Johnson has had his Ted Heath moment, a reference to his predecessor giving away fishing rights in British waters in 1973. The transition period of a 5.5-year phase-in changes, with the UK accepting a 25 repatriation of quotas, amounted to just deference and justice denied, he said. The Prime Minister urged Brexiteers and Remainers to move on from the divisions that have plagued the UK politics since the referendum. My message to everybody on both sides of the argument in 2016 is I really think now it is now a long time behind us, he said. He claimed that the UK would remain culturally, emotional and historically and strategically and geologically attached to Europe, not at least to the 4 million EU nationals who have requested to settle in the UK over the last 4 years, and who have made enormous contribution to our country and our lives. Gee, might have been wonderful, Boris, if you and your fellow Conservatives and Brexiteers had actually bothered even to mention their contribution over that time, but you haven't. Barnier said it was a day of relief, but tinged with some sadness. He lamented the government's decision not to be partnered in the Erasmus student exchange programme and the lack of cooperation on foreign policy and defence. The deal will be scrutinised by EU leaders on both. The French President Emmanuel Macron and Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, said they believed the accord would be in place for the end of the year. So that was obviously the initial roundabout, and obviously we've still got to wait and see what happens going forward. But to spoil the rest of this week's coming videos, it generally hasn't been looking too good for the British side, especially with the promises that Leave made during not only the referendum but even since then. So Monday could be interesting. Monday could be very, very interesting indeed. So with that said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time. And also remember, hit the like and share button on your way out, and also down below there is a link to my Patreon page as well as a one-off donation link. And thank you very much to the people that do support me that way, and we'll see you all next time.